So here are the answers. Those cavities, nasal and oral mouths, are open to the outside, so they will be covered with mucous membranes. Our skin is a cutaneous membranes, and those two pictures show you serous membranes, peritoneal and pleura, and those are not open to the outside. We start in studying tissues from epithelial tissues, or sometimes it's called epithelium. There are two main types of epithelium by locations. Covering and lining epithelia cover external and internal surfaces of the organs. And we also have glandular epithelia. Those are all different types of glands all over the body, like endocrine glands or sweat glands or oil glands. Epithelial cells. This layer is a layer of epithelial tissues, and it has actually two surfaces. One surface is an apical surface, or sometimes it's called free surface, because if you're looking under the microscope you won't see any other tissues right here. It's the end of the tissues. Another layer of cells is called basal layer because it's sitting on their structure that is called basal membrane. And so basal and apical surface, that is called a polarity. Cells have polarity. On that apical or free surface, sometimes there will be microvilli or cilia, sometimes not. And this basement membrane, or it's called basal lamina, it has several names actually, that will be just non-cellular layer of glycoproteins and collagen, and it serves for cells attachment. Cells are in the epithelial tissue are also attached to each other, and there are three types of attachment: tight junctions, desmosomes, and gap junctions. If you imagine that right here you can see that is one cell and that is another cell, and right here in the picture you can see that piece between two cells. So that is a one cell membrane, and here is a cell membrane of another cell, and in some places they are connected with proteins. Those are protein molecules, very tight. Here is another tight junction, so nothing actually can go between those two cells, even water molecules. So where might these types of tissue, tight junctions, be useful in the body? Wherever the organ should be waterproof. Next one, anchoring junctions or desmosomes. That's a cell membrane of one cell. Here is a cell membrane of another cell, and they are connected by a longer proteins attached from the inside of both cells. Attachment between the cells is also made of proteins, but longer transmembrane proteins. They allow some movement between those two cells. So cells remain connected, but those cells can stretch. So that type of junctions is important in our stretchable organs, like bladder, like stomach. Finally, we have gap junctions. Here is a cell membrane of one cell, and right here is a cell membrane of another cell, and proteins sitting between them connect both cells in such a way that there is a channel between two cells. So substances or electrical signals can move from one cell to another cell very fast. It's important in our heart muscle to move electrical signals through all heart muscle cells at the same time. Now we'll talk about characteristics of epithelial tissues. So we already said that all cells have polarity, free or apical edge and basal surfaces. Next one, all the cells are closely packed. All the cells are also supported by tissue lamina or basal membrane. All the epithelial tissues are avascular. That word means there are no blood vessels in the epithelial tissues, but they are innervated. It means there are nerves and nerve endings in the epithelial tissues. And finally, there is very high rate of regeneration for epithelial tissues. That means that if epithelial tissue is damaged, it can repair itself much faster than other tissues. Example, if you cut skin on your finger, it will heal in a few days unless the infection develops. But if somebody breaks their bone, it takes weeks or sometimes months for that wound to be repaired. Now we'll talk about classification of epithelia. First of all, when we are looking at epithelial tissue, that layer that has pre-edge and basal membrane, we need to ask how many layers we see. Sometimes we see just one layer of cells, and that would be simple epithelium. Next one, there are several layers, and that is called stratified epithelium. Strata in Latin means layer, so stratified literally means layered, the one that has several layers. That's how we start naming epithelial tissues, from the word simple or from the word stratified.